Because Myers is not young, right? Is he
I don't think he's young at all.
27 or something?
He may be older than that.
I will find that answer
Yeah, he's
forthwith. 27. Turns 28 in January.
Yeah. He's a big guy.
Yeah, that seems to be.
That was the mandate from Tree Living.
Big
this
guy
summer.
shoots right.
Get big, get long.
Yeah.
And shoot right.
That doesn't hurt either.
Certainly very helpful. Want to hear a really fun, bizarre Leaf stat? And this can be a useful or useless thing for you, Kip. NHL Edge tracks, what's the fastest someone has skated on your team this year? What's the hardest someone has shot a puck? And then they rank it around the NHL. The Leafs may be last in their top shot speed. The hardest a Leaf has shot the puck this year is 93.7 miles per hour. Does that mean anything? That they don't have anyone that shoots it hard?
Yeah, I think it matters.
Where they ranked in goal scoring?
Pretty high, I would think, right? Actually, maybe not.
Who's scoring goals for them?
You're right. Let's see here. Teams, goals for per game. They are currently 15th in the NHL.
Mid.
0.04. Mid, to say the least.
So that's what their shot is.
Who had the hardest shot?
The team with the hardest shot?
No. Who does it say who on the Leafs had the hardest shot?
Yeah.
No,
Tanev, Saturday night.
Yeah, already ripped one. How about our boy?
I got to say, that was awesome. For him to get, you could have gone the whole year without him getting 1 point and the contract's worth it. But to have, he's still fun to score a goal. He got a great shot on the tip that Nyes ended up getting to. So good offensive night for Tanev.
And he almost had another, a couple shifts later. He went cheese.
Yeah.
Do you want to go to an OEL Tanev?
Yeah, they're playing
Clippers,
together.
Clippers?
They're playing together tonight.
Let's do it. Clip 8.
Well, just with losing McCabe, kind of put two guys together that we can use as a shutdown pair. That's where we're thinking, so in terms of that. He's got a great stick, Ekman Larson, great stick, skates well, big, plays physical. So that's what we're thinking there with the pair.
In about 10 minutes, we're going to welcome in Darren Pang, Blackhawks analyst. Does a terrific job also for TNT. And we'll get his thoughts on OEL and Tanev going up against Connor Bedard.
Looking forward to that. Update for you, the slap shot was William Nylander against Edmonton in November.
Wow.
We do have another injury update. We kind of been tracking the progress, everyone.
I just wanted to ask about Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
Okay.
Wouldn't say loved him on Saturday night.
I wouldn't say loved him in Florida. I didn't think he was good against Panthers.
Yeah, a couple of
that turnover
games
into the middle for the breakaway was it Asimont that had the breakaway? I was like, oh boy, that was Travis Dermott-esque. It was.
No, you're right.
The only thing we've brought up a lot earlier in the year was how much do you want to go to him? He was a top third pair guy on a Stanley Cup team last year. And would the Leafs continually use him as a 3 or 4 and be over 20 minutes a night? Maybe some of those early minutes in the first quarter of the season maybe caught up to him a little bit going into the last 2 games.
I think he's been handed a bit too much. The Leafs, like TOI, time on ice leaders, Oliver Ekman-Larsson is 4th on the team. He averages over 21 minutes a game for Toronto.
Yeah, that's too much for me.
That's a lot of hockey for OEL. Guy who's been...
Well, I mean,
he plays hard.
Yeah.
He plays hard. He finishes. He's engaged constantly. So maybe just a little bit of a letdown in Florida.
He's playing almost 2 minutes more per game than Tanev, which...
And there's a clear drop from, they have their top 4 guys who play all the time, and then they have sort of the Timmins pair, and Benoit's been playing with him, but it's very clear that he's in that group. So that's probably why they signed him. They paid him $3.5 million. I think that's what they thought they were going to get from him, right?
Yeah,
they were going to play him that much.
To your point, while we're talking about gaps in ice time, the top 4 D are obviously McCabe, Riley, OEL, and Tanev. And then the drop between Tanev and number 5 at Timmins is 3 minutes per game.
Yeah. So he's in that group.
Yeah.
But anyways.
4 guys.
Okay, we got a Craig Berube, Kippers Clipper on Bedard going into tonight.
He's warming up.
Let's just see what Coach Berube has to say.
Elite shooter, does a lot of little things with his shot, push and pull stuff, and it gets through all the time. He's got an elite shot and really good vision. He sees the ice very well and knows where people are and can make plays. he's going to be a good player. He is a good player, you know, and he's only going to get better.
I love the push and pull. Love that.
Yeah. He barely scored in November. He had 1 goal the whole month, and it was towards the end. But now he has, 4 points in his last 3 games, starting to play a little better.
I know he's struggled, but he's the type of guy that could show up tonight on a big stage.
Yeah.
Oh, Amazon Prime hockey, big stage.
Played well in
Everybody's
Edmonton. We're gonna get we'll get Darren Pang's thought on it, but yeah, kind of told you guys a long time ago. You got to be careful. Too much too soon. I think that's all that's happened to this kid, and I think
he's got no one to work with.
I think. Yeah, I know.
They stink.
He was born in the year 2005.
I totally get what you're saying, but there has to be a greater picture here, too. I think there's times when he's turned the puck over, and usually a 19-year-old or 20-year-old that isn't labeled generational has to sit his ass on the bench and miss a few shifts or get called into the office and look at video. And not saying that that doesn't happen, but it has to come with a bit of a we're not happy with you feel.
It's different.
And it's different for him.
You have to live with more mistakes.
I think that's going on in that dressing room right now.
People frustrated with it?
Well, I think sometimes you can look around the room and say there's different rules for different guys, and then there's other times when you go, okay, enough's enough.
Mm-hmm. Like, I get different rules for different guys, but if you feel like it's getting out of hand, he's taking too much liberty with it, maybe that can be a thing. It's also, I think, hard. He is 19 years old in second year in the league. The team's near the bottom of the league, so he's in his own zone a lot. I think it's A, hard to have success, and then B, hard to go in the dressing room when you're doing commercials for 6 brands. And they're like, you're the guy who's supposed to pull us out of this. And you're like, I'm still 19. It's like, well, you can't have it both ways.
I'm just a baby.
Yeah.
And I got a free car.
Yeah.
Nah.
They're like, you're either supposed to be able to fix it or not do the commercial.
Okay, we'll take a quick break and we'll get into all of that and more with Darren Pang, Blackhawks analyst. They go tonight, 7:30, Scotiabank Arena. Back after these words.
The Toronto Maple Leafs may be taking a new approach to salary management, which could directly impact Mitch Marner's contract negotiations. During Kyle Dubas' tenure as general manager, the team didn't hesitate to spend heavily, and this trend began with a 6-year extension signed by Marner in 2019. At the time, Marner's $10.9 million annual cap hit set the market for superstar wingers, surpassing comparable players like Mikko Rantanen of the Colorado Avalanche, who signed a 6-year deal with a $9.25 million annual cap hit. Now, however, times seem to be changing. TSN's Pierre LeBrun recently reported that the Maple Leafs have implemented an internal salary cap, aiming to ensure no player earns more than captain Austin Matthews, who signed a 4-year extension worth $13.25 million per season in August 2023. The team's primary concern revolves around Marner's agent, Darren Ferris, who, according to LeBrun, might push for a percentage of the total salary cap instead of a fixed dollar amount. This could result in Marner's cap hit exceeding Matthews' $13.25 million, conflicting with the Leafs' new financial strategy. Ferris is known for driving negotiations to the limit, often taking his clients to free agency. This raises fears that discussions between Marner and the Leafs could drag on until July 1st, giving Marner and his camp all the leverage in negotiations. Another complicating factor is the rising market. LeBrun noted that Mikko Rantanen believes he could secure $14 million per season as a free agent. This sparks the question, could Marner demand even more? And would Ferris take that gamble, knowing the Leafs might opt to move on and sign another player? Marner has made it clear on multiple occasions that Toronto is where he wants to be. As a local player with deep ties to the city, he's expressed his desire to spend his entire career wearing the blue and white of the Leafs. However, staying with the team may require him to accept less than market value, especially if the front office remains committed to its new salary structure. Such a sacrifice could be vital for the team's collective success and to avoid financial issues that have plagued the recent past. While negotiations are still in the early stages, it's evident that Marner's future with the Leafs is at stake. Maple Leafs fans may need to prepare for the possibility of significant changes, but they can also trust in the player's commitment to the city and the franchise to find a compromise. The Maple Leafs' decision to implement an internal salary cap reflects a broader shift in their team-building philosophy. After years of prioritizing top-end talent with hefty contracts, the organization appears determined to strike a balance between superstar contracts and depth throughout the roster. This strategy aims to avoid the pitfalls of past seasons, where a lack of financial flexibility often left the team vulnerable in critical playoff moments. For Mitch Marner, this shift creates a unique challenge. On one hand, his value to the Leafs is undeniable. A consistent top scorer and elite playmaker, Marner has been instrumental in driving the team's offense. On the other hand, his ability to command a salary that rivals or exceeds Austin Matthews could put the Leafs in a difficult position, especially with a potential need to strengthen other areas of the roster. As the 2023-24 season progresses, the Leafs must weigh the potential consequences of sticking to their cap philosophy. Losing a homegrown talent like Marner would undoubtedly sting for fans and the organization alike. However, allowing one player to dictate financial terms beyond the team's structure could hinder long-term success and force painful sacrifices elsewhere. Adding to the complexity is the looming free agency of William Nylander. If the Leafs are to stick to their internal salary cap, they may also face challenges in retaining Nylander, who could command a significant raise. Balancing contracts for both Marner and Nylander within the new framework could prove to be the ultimate test for Toronto's management team. Another factor at play is the team's ultimate goal, winning the Stanley Cup. While star players like Marner and Matthews are crucial, history has shown that depth and balanced rosters often prevail in the postseason. If the Leafs fail to manage their finances effectively, they risk falling short of building a championship-caliber team, even with elite talent. For Marner, the decision to stay with the Leafs might come down to more than just dollars. His connection to the city, the fans, and his teammates could be deciding factors. If he prioritizes legacy and loyalty over maximizing earnings, there's a strong possibility that he'll work with the team to find a deal that benefits both parties. Negotiations will also test Darren Ferris, known for his hardline tactics in securing lucrative deals for his clients. While pushing for top dollar is expected, Ferris may need to weigh the risks of alienating the Leafs management and fanbase. A prolonged stalemate could damage Marner's relationship with the team and its supporters. The Leafs management, led by general manager Brad Treliving, faces a pivotal moment. Treliving's reputation as a negotiator and team builder will be on full display as he navigates this high-stakes scenario. Striking the right balance could solidify his tenure in Toronto, while a misstep might set the team back for years. For Maple Leafs fans, the coming months will be filled with anticipation and uncertainty. Marner's future, along with the team's ability to stay competitive under financial constraints, will likely dominate conversations as the season unfolds. Supporters can only hope that the team's new approach leads to greater playoff success and, ultimately, the elusive championship. In the end, the outcome of these negotiations could redefine the Maple Leafs' identity for years to come. Whether it results in retaining Marner or reshaping the roster, the team's commitment to an internal salary cap signals a clear focus on long-term sustainability. Fans will be watching closely, hoping for a resolution that keeps the team's core intact and their championship dreams alive. As the negotiations with Mitch Marner progress, another layer of complexity is added by the external competition in the NHL market. Teams with more cap space and fewer restrictions could easily present lucrative offers to Marner if he reaches free agency. The Leafs are not only negotiating with Marner but also indirectly competing with other franchises willing to outbid them for his services. One example of this is Mikko Rantanen, whose potential $14 million value on the open market highlights the growing demand for elite wingers. If Rantanen secures such a deal, it could set a precedent that Marner's camp would use as leverage. The Leafs, however, must remain disciplined, as breaking their internal salary cap for Marner could lead to similar demands from other key players down the line. The looming specter of free agency means the Leafs have a limited window to strike a deal. If negotiations drag on into the off-season, the leverage shifts heavily in favor of Marner and his agent. Darren Ferris, known for his strategic patience, could use this to push for maximum value, putting even greater pressure on the Leafs management to make a decision. This scenario also places significant pressure on head coach Sheldon Keefe. Managing a team amid ongoing contract uncertainty can disrupt chemistry and focus. Keefe will need to ensure that the team remains united and focused on their performance, even as the media and fans speculate about Marner's future. Meanwhile, the Leafs core group, including Austin Matthews, Morgan Rielly, and John Tavares, will likely play a role in influencing Marner's decision. The camaraderie among the players and their collective drive for a championship could persuade Marner to accept a deal that aligns with the team's financial structure. On the flip side, the Leafs could explore contingency plans if a deal with Marner doesn't materialize. Trading Marner would be a bold move, but it could bring significant assets in return, potentially bolstering the team in areas like defense or secondary scoring. This option, while unpopular with fans, might be necessary to maintain roster balance. The timing of these decisions is also critical. With the trade deadline months away, the Leafs must assess whether keeping Marner without an extension risks losing him for nothing in free agency. A preemptive trade could avoid this scenario, but it would also signal a significant shift in the team's short-term goals. Fan sentiment will undoubtedly influence the team's approach. Marner is not just an exceptional player, he's a fan favorite and a symbol of homegrown talent succeeding in Toronto. Losing him could lead to backlash, especially if the team struggles in the aftermath of his departure. The broader NHL landscape also plays a role. As other teams navigate their own salary cap challenges, the Leafs can learn from their successes and failures. Organizations like the Tampa Bay Lightning and Vegas Golden Knights have shown the value of balancing star power with depth, offering a potential blueprint for Toronto's future.